Scholars did not differ about a woman going to university where there's mixing of men. They allowed her to go where there is a university who is only for ladies. This is not a problem. Even there, they make conditions for that person as well, regarding the university she's going to and so forth. But they did not differ about a Muslim lady going to a university in the West where there are men there, or in wherever in Islamic lands where there are men as well. They differed about the man going to university. The man, not the lady. They differed if the man's allowed to go to university. A man, not the lady. So the man likewise, do not take this lightly. It's not only the sisters, it's you yourself as well. Yourself. Don't think you're safe from the situation. Just as the ladies are not allowed, scholars have differed regarding you. You're a Muslim as well. You've got conditions and rights against you. Number 18, the mingling of some students who study in other countries with Western families and living with them in one home. I think they call it exchange student, is it not? Or there's another thing that's called the pen pals, foreign exchange. And that is un-Islamic, where they allow students to go overseas, or from there they come to here, and thus they enter a family for a month or two, or for as long as it takes for them to finish the course, and they live with them as though it is their family. This is haram. Or the pen pals, likewise, it's not acceptable. Pen pals are when you start, it's the pen where you start writing letters to a person overseas, or she writes or he writes to you. This is not allowed in Islam. This is a kufr way, not an Islamic way. The call for sending women abroad for the purpose of continuing their higher education. This leads to the fact that these women adopt destructive Western ideas. It's another evil practice that we see. When she finishes from the minor devil, she goes to a major devil. And they're all devilish. But it's like she's advanced into another devil now. And when our devils are of different sort of levels. So from one devil to a larger devil. Number 21. Mingling of male and female students at the higher levels of education with the claim that this is necessary for specialized studies. Haram. 22. These are all haram here. It's not like it's allowed. It's getting us the prohibited ways. 22. Male instructors being alone with female students in working on university theses with the claim that this is necessary for supervision in conducting research and preparing the thesis. This is haram. Even though he's your professor, or he's a PhD person who's doing his thesis, and he has been obligated to take care of you while you are doing your thesis, whether it's the master's or the PhD or any other thesis. You are not allowed to be with this person independently. It is haram, no matter what the reason is. Under any circumstance, you are not allowed to be with this male. The call to attend various lectures, poetry sessions and conferences that are given by women or men, and where men sit side by side with women. This is un-Islamic, as we all know. Ladies are not allowed to sit beside men, and they are not allowed to sit beside the men are not allowed to sit beside the women, and so forth. So this is as well haram, and we see this in the theatres, the lecture theatres, where if it's not mixed, it's side by side. This is not Islamic. This is not Islamic. As the hadith mentions that the distance the lady is, the more Islamic it is. So the ladies in reality in Islam should be behind the men. The further the better. Not close to the men, not side by side the men, but far from the men. And this is the Islamic etiquette for congregating between men and women. This is allowed. You are allowed to have ladies. For example, the ladies in there tonight, if there was an area in the back, they can sit in the back section without any veil. There is no harm if that permitted it in this room. So this is allowed, but you are not allowed to sit close to them, side by side, or so close that they can exchange their vision to each other. As one sister in university, I was doing a lesson there, she goes to me, but how are we going to find our boyfriends? I said, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. This is a sister in university. A university student, in other words. 25 female nurses and female doctors mingling with non-related men, even if those men are also nurses and doctors. Just because you're a doctor or a nurse or a scientist doesn't mean that you are allowed to mingle with the other party. It is not allowed. So there's no excuse here. You've got no excuse. No matter what you are, how you are, what occupation you do, you are not allowed to mingle with the other sex under any circumstance. There is no allowance here. There is no allowance unless that which Islam allowed. The male doctor being alone with the female nurse or female doctor, not allowed. Not allowed. The woman uncovering herself for a male doctor without any need or necessity, or while there is a female doctor available. Many of us go to doctors, physicians. We may need to go to see some kind of treatment for our sickness. However, we do not go to the female doctors if it's a male person unless there is no male doctors. Likewise, your wife or the female does not go where? To a male doctor unless there's a real need for that. And if she goes, she must have a mahram with her. If there's no mahram, she is not allowed to go. So if she goes to a male doctor and there is no female doctors except him to treat her with that disease or sickness, she is allowed to go there. She has to have a what? A mahram with her. And when she goes there, she does not uncover except that which she needs to uncover. For example, when she's in the room with the doctor and her mahram, she doesn't say, okay, hijab's taken off now, he's a doctor. No. It doesn't work like that. She's not allowed to do that. He is allowed and only allowed to see that which he needs to. There was a situation that was taken that happened not long ago. An elderly lady, she has niqab on and she had an ear infection. So she went to the doctor. She asked me if I'm allowed to do this. Before she went to the doctor, I said, of course she can go to the doctor if there's no one else but him. And she was, it was a necessity, and there was no female doctors at that time, and she was really in need to go to this person. So she went there, and pious lady, we think of her best. The doctor said, okay, then can you show me, can you take the hijab off? She goes, no, I won't take the hijab off. I don't have a problem with my face or my head, it's my ear. She unveiled her ear. She goes, here you go. You can see my ear. That's the problem is, and only here. It's okay then. He responded. That's all he needs to see, her ear. So you only limit it to that which is necessity. So she unveiled the ear, and he treated her. Take the hijab off, and the dress off, and this and that off. What for? Anta abi, anta abuya. You're not my father. But ladies, many ladies don't care. Women and men mingling freely at parties and on other special occasions. And this happens just about every single day where many people mingle, whether it's at home, whether it's in parties, whether it's out in the park. And even, subhanAllah, we see this amongst the university students again, where they have excursions to certain parks and they mix, wallahi they mix. And I think there was a recent excursion in Sydney University where the Muslim organisation there organised some kind of barbecue or whatever. They went to a park and they were mixing as they were brothers and sisters, related, brothers and sisters, talking to each other, exchanging thoughts to school, what they're going to do in the Islamic sort of, in the Islamic perspective, in their university. This is not allowed. And subhanAllah, why are we doing these things? What is happening to us as people? Where in Islam does this allow us? Why have we changed? Why are we so deficient? Why are we so weak? Why are we allowing this to be? Why? It is not allowed Islamically. Have we reached that state of weakness? Yes, we have. Yes, we have. Because you go to a person's house and you see them mixing of relatives together, and you'll see what I'm talking about.